I wear helmets to get people in the mood.
Hello, and welcome to Let Me Look That Up, the show where we use the internet to answer life's most trivial questions. I'm Justin, and I crammed before this exam.
And I'm Adam, and I have the internet at my fingertips to look things up.
And I'm Tristan.
We've all been there before. You're hanging out with a couple of friends, and suddenly a random question pops up like, how do you fly a blimp?
That's when somebody ends up pulling out their phone and seeing if they can find the answer. That's what this show's about. Just a couple of friends trying to find the answers to life's mysteries.
Because it's been around for a super long time, so everything on it must be correct. Sarcasm inserted.
All right, today's topic is electronic dance music, or EDM, and more so, what it looks like.
Oh.
So guys, you remember Daft Punk?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just really miss those guys. That's all I had for this episode.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe.
That's it?
That's it.
That's all you're bringing today? Just making us all remember that Daft Punk is no longer around?
Yep.
Guys, I remember them.
So, guys, what about Daft Punk is pretty memorable about them?
Here's the thing. When I think of Daft Punk, the first thing I think of is our high school physics teacher.
Oh yeah.
Because he was in one of the music videos.
Right, yeah.
That's right.
That's what I think of, which is ridiculous.
I think of they were in Tron. I think of they were in the new Tron movie.
Oh yeah.
One of the better
Yeah.
parts of the new Tron movie.
Well, they did the soundtrack for...
That is an awesome soundtrack.
So good.
I listen to that while I drive. It's amazing.
I listen to it while you drive as well. Not in the same car, of course.
You just look at Find My Friends and be like, oh, Justin's driving. Gotta turn.
I have a notication system set up. Yeah.
Quick, pull up Daft Punk.
It's an automation every time you leave your house and Daft Punk starts playing.
So guys, the real reason I want to talk about Daft Punk today is they look weird, right? There's something a little bit different about them, right?
Oh yeah, they wear jumpsuits.
They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
They looked pretty cool.
That's true. They did blow up.
They did.
So-
Well, one of them blew up. The other
No,
one
they-
just walked into the sunset.
If you watch the whole video
Garfunkel?
series, they both blow up.
Wait,
Oh.
is there a sequel? Is there a next
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, there's a
just-
sequel.
Oh,
I just saw the first one.
I don't
Oh,
know what you're
gosh.
talking about.
Adam, when they announced that they were breaking up, I guess.
You're right.
I don't know, ending. There was a video that they did where it was just the two of them like walking into the desert, and then one of them just stops walking, and like they push the buttons, and the other one walks away, and the other one like self-destructs in the background. But apparently they made
Oh.
another one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the other one where he's just walking through the desert, and it kind of goes along with the rest of the album, but at the end of that, he self-destructs too.
Oh, so it's like a metaphor for his life, right? He's self-destructing. Nope. That's just...
I don't think so.
nope.
Nope. I just said nope because I realized I don't want to talk about the dark, depressing part of self-destructing. They walked into the desert and exploded. You can take a deeper meaning, but that just sounds cool. It's
Anyway,
a
yeah.
metaphor.
But yeah, they look like robots.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got fancy helmets. They got fancy bicycle helmets.
Yeah, and so that's
Motorcycle
what
helmets. No, they
Fancy
don't.
bicycle helmets.
fancy bicycle helmets.
I don't know where you buy your
Well.
helmets.
But yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at is Daft Punk's robot helmets.
Right.
That's a pretty specific look, and I'm kind of wondering less so about why they do it because, artists, they all have their own reasons, but more so how long have there been people wearing helmets and playing music at the same time?
Yeah. Or like hiding their identity to some
Yeah,
extent.
hiding their identity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely got appeal. You can rock the house and then turn around and walk into 7-Eleven and no one knows who you are. So I can definitely see the appeal there.
Yeah. You get to kind of like turn off your fame.
Yeah.
You're not an actor where everybody knows your face and everywhere you go, the paparazzi's following you. Like,
Well,
you
that's
just
true.
get to go, and then you're not that person anymore.
You're right. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, but oh my gosh, this makes me think of like, if someone's not wearing like, that means that whoever is like a super fan has really dug deep to figure out what you look like without a helmet on. And that probably, like, if they know who you are, that already sets the bar in your brain. Like, okay, red alert, this person knows who I am. They might, like, I'm either getting stabbed or they're asking me to sign something. Like, you know,
If they recognize who I am, run.
And I just thought of this. It's kind of that you end up with that cool air of mystery where it's like the Stig in Top Gear, where it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah,
ooh, who is this person? I want to figure it out. And like,
Yeah.
you know, with Top Gear, they've gone through different Stigs and stuff, and they've revealed who it's been, but they always come back with a new one, and that's always a different person. And then you're back to that same question of who is this guy?
No, it's always the same one. The Stig is the Stig. There's only one.
That is absolutely true. There is
There's only
one Stig.
Don't ruin this for me.
So what do you want to know about helmets? Like what's the musical artists? Like what brings you into the into the shop today to talk about helmets?
I was literally going to ask, did I just walk into a helmet shop for EDM artists looking to hide their faces?
Well, and it's funny that you say that because if you type in DJ helmet and you just which by the way sounds like a great DJ name, DJ helmet. Etsy is like you could scroll for probably ages with lots of helmets, including a Daft Punk Chia Pet helmet where you could plant like a succulent in it, or you could spread the seeds on it, which already looks pretty cool. You can buy DJ helmets pretty much everywhere. It looks like these masks are quite prolific, including a motorcycle helmet company called DJ Helmets.
So there's a lot to unpack there with the why do these DJs wear these helmets, but I kind of want to more go into how long have there been DJs wearing helmets? Tristan, do you have any theories as to how long this has been going on?
Oh man. Okay. Let's think about this. I would imagine, I think we limit ourselves to like, oh, they've probably only been doing that since like the 90s or something. But I think it goes much further back than that. Like, were there people in, I don't know, Mozart's time who would wear masks? You know?
Yeah.
Like, were there... I can't even express my thoughts right now. I'm so excited by this idea of like, I don't know, the masquerade kind of thing, but...
Ooh, yeah. Can we draw a through line to back when masquerades were a thing? Can we draw like a through line from Daft Punk all the way to them?
Yeah.
To be fair, to look up the history of musicians that wear masks throughout history, you have to, in the current age of COVID, you have to dig through a lot of people trying to sell you masks with composers' faces on them.
Oh, so you can be like
half of my
Beethoven.
research is just sifting through music put onto face masks when I just want to know the history of masked musicians, which doesn't actually, like, it sounds cool until you just think of a guy wearing like a Phantom of the Opera mask and like breaking into your house. Not cool.
Now, yeah, there's another question. Does the Phantom of the Opera fall into this genre of masked DJs? Is he a DJ?
He does manipulate a woman. He spins the tables, so to speak.
Hold on.
That's a weird one. I will own that.
Quick question. I just need some clarification. Adam, what is your familiarity with EDM artists?
To be honest, besides knowing the people who make costumes for EDMs, I actually don't know much about EDM concerts, and I know more about the people. I used to work with people who would make the elaborate outfits that you would wear.
Okay.
That's what I know, is seeing the artistry side. I don't know much about the electronic music side.
You know people who make DJ outfits?
Not so much DJ outfits. It's more like the people who show up in like full costume.
Oh, right.
Like
okay.
that side of
Okay.
of EDM. Although I'm sure it's not too far from making masks. I've never asked.
Off the top of my head, the ones that I can think of, like obviously Daft Punk, Marshmello, Deadmau5.
Now, okay, Deadmau5, I actually know some facts off the top of my head that he actually does take his helmet off during shows.
Does he?
So yeah, that's sort of like anonymousness of a mask and stuff. He doesn't really follow that trend. He's actually just sort of using the helmet as part of the show, but also I think there was an incident a few years back where he fainted on stage from wearing the helmet too long.
I bet
Oh
it
my
gets
gosh.
super hot under that thing.
Yeah.
That explains why the Etsy store, the big thing they were highlighting was vented helmets. Like, oh,
I'd much rather watch a DJ with a shiny helmet than just some dude.
Now,
DJ sweat hair.
now the interesting thing is though is Daft Punk formed all the way back in 1993, and back then, before they had the robot helmets, they just wore black bags over their heads.
Really?
What kind of material? Like
Satin?
the black shopping bag that they cut some holes out of?
It's like Charlie Brown.
I'm picturing either like those black cloth bags that you always see them take hostages in, or they're paper bags that were painted black and had eye holes cut out of them.
Like the Spider-Man when he was on the Fantastic Four, how he just had the bag on his head.
Yeah, and I know back then they did it because they didn't want to be photographed or videoed. They wanted kind of their music to do the speaking for them.
I could go really wide with this because the history of like helmets, especially the idea of like wearing it for like a theatrical purpose, it's like the history of masks throughout history. I mean, the fact that people wore them for religious ceremonies, they wore them, it's like funeral masks. They wear it, it's like this like disguising, being able to actually like, take on a persona while wearing it.
You know what else I'm wondering? Was there a masked DJ before Daft Punk?
Well, that's actually a really good point. I've been looking up. I've been trying to look up, like, it's kind of crazy because every time you try to look up masked musicians before Daft Punk, you really can't find a lot before them. It seems like, I mean, this is something that if somebody else has done a deep dive on, anybody can comment on, has there been anybody before Daft Punk? Because all I can see is like Daft Punk, masks that are better than Daft Punk. Their best songs. What do they look like without a mask?
Well, fun fact, going into trying to figure out a list of artists that wear helmets, I do know that Marshmello was inspired to wear a helmet because of Deadmau5.
Ah,
Okay.
Now, I don't know what inspired Deadmau5 to wear a helmet. I'm imagining it was also Daft Punk, so there might be a through line between at least those three. I do know that Deadmau5 actually got his name because a mouse died in his computer and cut off his voice chat once.
oh,
Bummer.
that's awesome. I mean, honestly, it seems like all of the inspiration for Daft Punk, it just keeps being like Isaac Asimov or like the Star Wars, the Stormtrooper helmets, as well as the Bounty Hunter. Ooh. So, I actually do have something really interesting. I have the person who created the Daft Punk helmet for the French duo.
Okay.
They actually was created by a special effects artist known as Tony Gardner. He worked for apparently a place called Altarian Inc. We are not in any way affiliated or supported by them, but he actually has a mini documentary called Behind the Helmets, Daft Punk, where he talks about the process of creating it, because they actually they actually wanted a way to like hide their identity but also look cool, and he actually worked with them to develop that. And so this is straight out of like movie craft, because apparently they used to also do like face paint back in the day too, like before they adopted like the bag and wig method, like because apparently they used to glue wigs to their bags.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a whole thing. They even like would paint the masks, the bags. Yeah. So apparently like he went to one of their shows or was approached by them after one of their shows, and he just was like, yeah, you guys need something better. Let me just take a crack at it. And they kind of worked on the inspiration.
You mean there's something better than a bag with a wig glued to the top of it?
Now I feel like that's my Zoom meeting persona. Oh, I have a meeting. I'll just put this bag with a wig on.
Hey, does that article answer the question of what the bags were made out of?
It does not.
Oh,
So there really isn't anyone before Daft Punk who were wearing helmets. Like there wasn't like some disco act out there in the 70s that we can go back to.
Ooh.
Or someone
actually,
in the 80s.
This is kind of interesting because I feel like it kind of diverges in music here. And it actually kind of like it seems like part of their roots go back to like Britain in like the 70s. They have David Bowie. They have David Bowie, and then they have
Bowie.
and then they also have this guy like the 70s called Bloody Beetroots who had a Venom style mask when he was on stage.
When you say Venom style, what does that mean?
You know, Venom from like a Spider-Man, you know, that like the white paint, the white and black mask.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like it's not so much there was a movement. There was like these little one-act DJs back in the day, or pop music from the 70s where people would just wear ostentatious makeup or just randomly wear a mask during shows. And it seems like they kind of drew their inspiration from that. Plus, you know, the anonymity factor apparently was really big for them, the ability just to take off their mask and go home.
Right.
Interesting. So it was more of a, these people have done it as a one-off, but what if we do it and that's our thing?
We wear the helmet all the time.
All the time. We never take it off. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I have spoken.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
From what we can tell, it seems like they are the ones who did it and made it a thing.
All right. Well, I think we've done as much research as we can fit into an episode. Tristan, what did you learn today?
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting, kind of their reasoning and their motivation behind it. It seems like it hasn't been really a thing for a long time, and there seems to be no correlation between like masquerades and like, I'm sure that had some form of minor influence along the way of like, oh, let's do this performance for other artists, let's do this performance with masks and that kind of stuff, but for them to just be influenced by these one-offs and then to actually make it a thing, they're kind of the trailblazers of masked DJs.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping there was someone before Daft Punk who was a robot DJ, but it seems that they were the first and they will always be the first.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it seems like out of everyone who wore masks, anybody who painted their faces, wore stuff on stage, that was part of their persona on stage, but it was never permanent. Daft Punk is the first people to say, this is it now, deal with it.
Yeah, my challenge is that if you know of anyone or can think of anyone before Daft Punk, like reach out and let us know, because that'd be really cool to kind of come back around to it and say like, hey, we found someone. But if not, like, let's just appreciate Daft Punk for who they were.
Yeah, let's appreciate Daft Punk for the 27 years that they walked this planet as robots.
Bagged with wigs and then robots.
Yes.
So a sentient bags that then became robots that are now human.
As the natural evolution of all robots. From bag to robot. So, Tristan, do we have any listener lookups this week?
We certainly do.
What?
So this week for listener lookups, one of our friends over on Facebook actually sent in a question that I thought that we might be able to answer on the show today. They asked if disgruntled means angry or dissatisfied. Does gruntled mean happy or satisfied? You know how sometimes there's those words that like they have that prefix in front of them, and then it's like, wait, does the root word, is that even a word? Do we use that? So Adam, real quick, can you look up, is gruntled a word, and does it mean happy and satisfied?
And I hope it's not a verb you do to someone else.
You've been gruntled.
Is gruntled a verb?
Well, according to Merriam-Webster, let me just switch into my Merriam-Webster voice. According to Merriam-Webster here, it is an adjective, and apparently gruntled is in fact a word, and it is described as informal and often humorous. The definition is in good humor, happy, contented. The example being, once he was gruntled, a wife and a kid, a good job, but because he devoted too much time to the latter, meaning the job, the former's packed up and left. Is his last name Former? Formers?
This character that you've built is amazing.
He's Merriam-Webster's character.
Just for the fun of it, can you look up a different dictionary? Because if we all remember the last time we used Merriam-Webster.
Well, if we were to go to the Cambridge Dictionary, gruntled, adjective, happy or satisfied, informal. Although he wasn't actually disgruntled, he was far from being gruntled. Is their example.
That was their example?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
the worst example sentence I've ever heard.
I feel like we need to talk to the people who make the examples.
Right. So what does unhappy mean? It means to not be happy. Get
It's
out.
like if you're at a spelling bee and you ask them, hey, can you use that in a sentence? And they say, the word I want you to spell is gruntled.
Well, there we have it. Gruntled is a word. You might not be disgruntled, but you're far from being gruntled.
I'm going to say that next time somebody's like, what's my service? Can you tell me if I did a good job? Well, I wasn't disgruntled, but I'm far from being gruntled.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how gruntled are you right now? 1 being disgruntled, 10 being gruntled.
I hate when people do okay, this is this is a tangent, so I'm stuttering like crazy because that's something I'm really passionate about. When people do the 1 to 10, people always explain what the 1 to 10 is. We all know what the 1 to 10 is.
Yeah.
But he says on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I know what that means.
Yeah,
You don't have to
nobody's
say
ever
it.
going to flip that. Like,
You
the
hated
question
it.
says, how dissatisfied are you? Obviously, 10 is going to be the most dissatisfied.
Right.
Anyway, if you would be more than gruntled to have your question featured on Listener Lookups, go ahead and reach out to us on our social media, on Facebook at Let Me Look That Up Pod, Instagram and Twitter at Let Me Look That Up. If you want to support the show, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One, we're on Apple and Spotify and wherever else you listen to podcasts. So go over there, subscribe to the show, leave us a rating and a review. Also, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Let Me Look That Up, and you can support us there as well. You can find all of these links in the description or at letmelookthatup.com.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next week on Let Me Look That Up. I'm Justin.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Tristan.